Yeah.
Here we go. Flying high with the birds, Philadelphia Eagles talk. Show number 1 of 2024. I am the Godfather. With me today are Will Seal the Deal Sealy. Mr. Sealy, how are you?
Good, guys. How's everybody doing?
Good. The podcast chaplain, Jimmy, what's up, dude?
Great time of the year, right, guys? Football,
Absolutely.
MLB playoffs coming up.
That's correct. Can't wait. And finally, the Armenian Hammer, Vahe. What's up?
Hi guys, how's everybody? Can't
Very
wait.
good.
Yep. Good summer. A lot going on. Maybe we should rename this podcast the Tanner McKee podcast because yours truly here thinks that we may have another Tom Brady in waiting. We'll get to that in a minute. But guys, anybody, just open it up. Tell me what you think. Let's get started with the job you guys think that Howie Roseman did in the offseason.
Go ahead.
I'm
I
excited.
know you're ready. Vahe's ready. Vahe's ready.
I think the best thing he did is hiring those two coordinators. I think that's the biggest difference.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
After last year, like it was so hard to watch the end of the season for like the last 5 weeks, I'd say, where it's just like, oh, I hated football at the time. But Howie Roseman, he got rid of the two bums that we all talked about all year, and he brought in a lot of good talent, had some nice draft picks. I'm excited again.
Let's get going. Now it's time to execute on the field, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, let's start with the coordinators. Vic Fangio, I mean, this guy has been around for a long, long time. He grew up in the northeastern part of Pennsylvania, was always like Philly through and through. He started his pro career, I think, with the Philadelphia Stars. He's an outstanding defensive coordinator, and this is going to be his last hurrah here in Philly. I think he kind of made that clear, and he's like in his mid 60s right now. So I would say he's near the end of his career, but he plays a lot like or coaches a lot like the way Gannon coached before. We didn't do a lot of blitzing, a lot of zone defense. Tell me what you guys think of him.
Well, he's the originator out of that defense. So I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of guys this year that understand the defense and know where they're supposed to be, opposed to last year where they didn't. And I think a lot of the players are going to respect him and give him the type of respect that, because they know he knows his stuff. And I don't know, I'm really excited about him being here. I mean, we can't get any worse than what we were last year. So
They could have had him last year too, right? Am I like wrong? Weren't they like talking to him and then he ended up going to Miami like
They
a
were-
week or two before it got serious?
I think they were a little too late because we were in it was the Super Bowl. Yeah, that was 2 years ago. Yeah. So I think he got hired before then, and we weren't exactly sure what was going on with like our coordinators.
yeah, I mean, the thing is, there isn't that much change on the defensive side from the players, but it's mostly like basically it's we got rid of the amateur hour and put in somebody who has done this work before. And I mean, from what I'm reading online, is basically is that the players, they feel more comfortable that somebody knows what he's doing versus last year, they didn't know what the guy was doing. And then that creates like a chaos, right? I mean, it's not like basically you're less talented, but if you don't believe in the guy with his schemes, right? So it creates confusion. And I think that's what was last year. They were confused. They were out of place,
Yeah.
wide open wide receivers. I mean, it's like complete chaos.
Yeah, and then you just had players kind of almost just playing for their next contract, where it was kind of like they're not paying attention what was actually called on the field, and they're just trying to get sacks. Like Hassan Reddick was just trying to chase sacks. Sweat was kind of just all over the place. He wasn't really listening either. And the D-backs, I mean, they had no idea where they were supposed to be on the field. It was, like you said, Vahe, it was just chaos.
It's time for a lot of guys to step up. Jacoby Dean, let's go. Got to make an
Yeah.
impact this year. Come on.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard he's really been doing good. Before we go on to the offensive coordinator, I just want to give a quick shout out to a couple of podcasts that a lot of us listen to here in Philadelphia. Eagle Eye Podcast with Dave Zangara and Ruben Frank. They are terrific. Inside the Birds, a tremendous podcast. And there's this new one. It's I don't know if it was out last year, but I've been listening to it. It's called Eagles 365. It's part of Jacob Sports with Xander Kraus and John McMullen. Phenomenal, phenomenal podcast. They have a lot of good insights, and they get guests on quite a bit. And I've gotten quite a bit of information from that new podcast. So that's something I would recommend that all 3 or 4 subscribers that we have here listen to. But seriously, Eagles 365 is something that I would seriously listen to. On offense, they got Kellen Moore, whose pedigree was honestly with Dallas and then the Chargers last year. I mean, well, you said this a million times. One of the biggest things with the Eagles offense last year was being stale and very little pre-snap motion. There's going to be a ton of that this year. Don't you guys think?
Yeah, and I was saying this last year, like I wanted to hire Kellen Moore more than anybody else. Like when he was with Dallas, I don't care that they tried to blame him just to keep McCarthy for next year, but this guy, he had one of the most efficient offenses that I've seen in a long time. Like when we would play Dallas or even just watching Dallas, hoping that they're going to lose, they always had possession of the ball. Like they just managed the clock on offense so well by working the run game and then just having a few passes here and there. Like I feel like he's a great offense coordinator to just manage a game and just take the defense out of the game. And I'm so excited that he's here. I'm really thrilled to see what he could do with Saquon.
Yeah, it's interesting because yesterday, I mean, we were visiting my son in DC, and we had the same conversations that what happened in DC? I mean, what happened in Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Marty, he hasn't done anything. And for whatever reason, they kept him and they got rid of this guy. I mean, that something must have happened behind the scene, or maybe, the owner just liked the guy.
McCarthy was afraid he was going to take his job, I think, and he was the one who ended up leaving. He got rid of him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, McCarthy. Well, what actually happened was, from what I heard, that McCarthy was getting paid so much money that Jerry Jones told him, "You should be the one calling the offense because it's your scheme." And then McCarthy wanted to run the offense. So I think that, in that respect, Moore was the odd man out, but he did a terrific job with San Diego. I keep saying San Diego, with the Los Angeles Chargers last year, even with the guys that he had hurt, including their quarterback and 2 of their wide
They
receivers.
lost a lot of receivers too.
Yeah, they lost receivers, but they had a lot of efficiency on offense. I think he's going to be, exactly what the Eagles need. But do you guys agree that the coaching failures has to fall on the head coach?
Mhm.
He's the one that hired these guys.
Yeah,
And
it seems like he's a puppet now.
Well, but let me put it to you this way.
And
I
he's the
think
last
that
contract too, by the way, right? He doesn't
Yeah.
have an. This is
Lame
it.
duck coach.
yeah, but think about this, Jim. It was his pick to get Kellen Moore. But I guarantee you that the brass said, Kellen Moore's available. We want you to interview him. Moore was interviewed for the head coaching job when Sirianni got it originally 3 years ago, and he didn't get the job. That's when he was with the Cowboys as the offensive coordinator. So I don't think he really had anything to do with Kellen Moore, even though he says he brought him in. And he had nothing to do with Vic Fangio, because remember they had the press conference right before they had the press conference. I guess it was months ago. Fangio just decided to leave Miami and they put it on hold. Remember, they put it on hold and they came back about a half an hour later and they said, "We just want to let everybody know we just hired Vic Fangio." I don't think either one of these were Sirianni's guys.
No, not at all.
So listen, I love Sirianni for the job that he did a couple years ago, but last year that offensive scheme was so stale that he has to take a lot of the blame for what happened last year. And he also he's the one that hired these coaches. He knew them. So, he has to take the blame for this. So now it's a new year. You're right. He's a lame duck coach. He's on a very tight, everything's wrapped real tight with him right now where he has to win and he has to win now, but I really think they will.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't,
what happens if they win though? They're gonna have decisions to make. Like if the offense takes off, I'm sure Moore's gonna get a lot of offers to be a head coach next year.
It's a great point, Jimmy. That's a
And I
great
don't
point.
think if I'm the Eagles, I'm not letting that guy get out the door.
Yeah,
Especially the way Hurts and Sirianni's relationship is.
yeah,
that's just the nature of the league though. If your team's good, teams
Yeah,
are
you're
gonna poach your
gone.
coaches. So I mean, to me, honestly, if we have a great year and we lose Kellen Moore at the end of the year, I mean, it's gonna suck, but I'm fine with it. That's just how it is.
yeah. Let's talk real quick about the first two picks, the two D-backs. Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Did you guys like the picks?
Love the picks.
Well,
They're my two favorite corners.
good so far, right? He just came back from being injured.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So
Cooper's yeah. He's not, I think he just started running team starting this week. I think or he's not 100%, and he may play in the last preseason game. I think they're two great picks. There's talk that the other the cornerback that was available for the Eagles to draft, I think his name was Darius Arnold, who ended up going to the Lions out of Alabama. There were people that said that he may have been the best defensive back, but they think that Quinion Mitchell was more NFL ready right now. So being from a small school, it sounds to me like nothing, he's, full steam ahead. He's done a really good job. He's definitely going to be a starter at the beginning of the year. And it probably will be at the slot corner from what I'm hearing. But listen, I have a funny feeling that eventually he's going to be the dance partner with Slay on the other outside corner. And one of those other two guys that are in there, Keely Ringo and Isaiah Rogers, they could be in the outside looking in, and both of them are very fast, and hopefully they are still on this roster.
So I was just looking at the like on the Eagles site, the depth chart, and I noticed something that was, just strange to me. Like, they usually have first string, second string, third string, and they line them out. For some reason on the defensive side of the ball, for corners, they have first string.
I know what I'm looking at it now. I know what you're going to say.
They got Darius Slay, and then the other corner spot, they have two names. It's Rogers and Ringo. Instead of, sliding one back into second string, it's almost like they're telling you it's an open competition. And then they also, for linebackers, they have as one linebacker, Devin White and Nakobe Dean, and then the other linebacker slot, Zach Vaughn and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. So these are definitely open competitions right now.
I saw that today too, Will. It's funny that you said that. I saw that same thing.
It's weird. Like I feel like I've never seen that before when I checked the roster at the beginning of the year.
They said Dean's looked really good the last week to 10 days. Yeah, and they said that he's finally got they finally got videotape on him, so he's been able to study his frame and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big year for him. He's got to, he's either got to produce or he's going to be looking for a job next year.
Yeah, but remember a couple of weeks ago they said he was horrible in pass coverage with the receivers out of the backfield. So Kenny Gainwell was running all over him a couple of weeks ago, and that offensive coordinators are going to key on that. If he is in the lineup, but would it be safe to say that Roseman has acquired I guess you could call it a linebacker factory now?
Well, it seems like our two weakest units of the defense are now two of our strongest.
Two of the strongest.
The corners are absolutely loaded. Like we've got too many. And linebackers, where we usually only have like one guy who's like an average guy, like on a 1-year deal, we've got a lot of young talent there too. It's exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like what they're doing on D. It's exciting. I like they're going with youth, and they're trying to build a D that's going to be reckoned with for years to come.
Yeah, if you see this,
And they're all on good contracts too, relatively, because
yeah,
the offense is making all the money. I think.
yeah, sure. If we see this defense in like 2-3 years from now, I mean, you might have, Quinton Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Trotter,
Might
Dean,
look
Huff, Jordan Davis, Carter. Like these are all young guys.
studs.
It could be could be looking like the 49ers defense of last year, just a bunch of studs.
Yep.
Yeah, but let's look at the flip side of this. One thing that really killed the Eagles defense last year was their defensive line and their edge pressure was awful last year. It's not a guarantee that it's going to be a lot better this year. You had Davis who fizzled out. You had Carter who fizzled out on the line. Josh Sweat had a horrible year. Hassan Reddick, who was by far the best edge rusher, is now gone. They picked up Bryce Huff, who was only a part-time player. Is Josh Sweat going to come back this year? We don't know. What kind of a player is Nolan Smith going to be? I don't know. Nolan Smith is great when there's no one blocking him. Every time I see him, I mean, he's got a big motor, but when he gets blocked, he gets handled. So I got a real worry about the pressure that this team's going to put on the quarterback this year. And the way I look at it is, if there's no pressure, I don't care how good those defensive backs are. If you got 10 seconds to throw the football, someone's is bound to get open, no matter how good their defensive backs are. My key concern right now is the defensive line, including the edges. So I don't know what you guys think.
I just kind of think I would throw out all of last year. I know it sounds stupid, but when you got guys doing their own thing to chase sacks or something, you're constantly blowing assignments and leaving guys out to dry. So the guys are going to be uninterested. They're not going to do their job, and they're going to look more exposed than they actually are. And it's not so much talent. I think it's more just they're not following assignments, and you're just going to look.
Yep.
And that's just. I think that's what happened to the defense.
No, I agree 100%. I mean, that's what it was. It's not the talent; it was just a scheme, and everybody was doing their own thing.
Yeah.
It's like I mean, people were like all over the place, because there's no rhyme and reason what they were doing. It was like really funny. I mean, sadly funny. I mean,
Yeah. Those guys in the middle.
Giants in one half.
Yeah. Those guys in the middle, like if the guys on the edge are just blowing assignments, they're going to look exposed. And then, if they're just uninterested, I mean, the linebackers are going to start looking exposed. And then it just
no doubt.
It just piles up.
So it starts up front, and that is the most important thing. And I think that Vic Fangio is aware of that, and he has to make sure that, his defensive packages, especially with the pass rush and the defensive line pressure, is going to be, key to get this, to get the everything rolling. Obviously the safety position now with CJ Gardner-Johnson is solidified again. Great player. What a great pickup he was to get him back. Now speaking of safety, I'm gonna pose this question to you. Is Avonte Maddox and James Bradbury on this roster this year?
I'd say 100% Maddox is, and James Bradbury, I'd give him like a 30% chance of him making it.
But it's a lot of dead money, right? I mean,
that's right. The 30% to me is because of his contract.
How many years does he have left?
One.
2 more years, right?
No, I thought last year was him and Slay signed for 2 years last year.
I can check. I have it up right now. So he signed for next year, 2025. So this year and next year.
Oh my God. Oh.
And 2026.
Oh wow.
It voids out in 2026.
All right. Well, he had
still a hit.
What's the cap hit?
For what, 2026?
Yeah.
what's that cap?
Yeah, that's gonna hurt. But you know what? This might be a
Head cap,
case.
Looks like a little over 7 million.
Yeah, but you know they're going to try to trade him. That's why they have him playing a lot at safety, thinking that the team's going to need a safety. I have a funny feeling they're not going to get any takers. I got a funny feeling they're just going to take their medicine and let him go because he doesn't belong on this team right now. He was missing tackles again last week in that game. Maddox, I'm going to say, is going to stay because he can play multiple positions. He can play cornerback, slot corner, safety. He had a beautiful pick last week in that game. So, and I think he'll kind of be a coach, from the sideline if he doesn't start at safety, which I don't see him doing. So, but, and it's a shame they have so many talented cornerbacks and you take the cornerbacks and safeties, there's no way that they're all going to be on the team. That's why I'm thinking, and I talked to Will about this a couple of days ago. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles package a deal to a team that may need a quarterback and a cornerback, taking one of the Eagles' backup quarterbacks, preferably Pickett, and then one of these defensive backs, and maybe get a real nice draft pick as a result of it. So, hey, Minnesota needs a quarterback right now. I was
going to say Minnesota needs a quarterback.
McCarthy's out for the season. I don't know if he was slated to be the starter, but he was the guy that was heralded to come in.
He looked real good the one game he did play. So they were saying there's a chance he could start.
Okay.
He's definitely the future of the team, but.
So now, as of right now, I think Darnold is the starting quarterback for Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, there's no doubt that there's going to be a couple deals made. And the other thing is this, even when they announce the final 53, that's not going to be the final 53. After it's announced, I guarantee Howie's going to be wheeling and dealing and getting rid of players and getting somebody good. I have a funny feeling he's going to come out of this before the season starts with a very good high draft pick, maybe for next year, or the year after. He's going to get a good draft pick. I guarantee it. I
just don't know who you're giving up to get a high draft pick. Like I don't want to get rid of any of these guys.
Well,
I mean, even if you give Pickett away with somebody, you're not going to get you're not getting a first round pick.
How old's Maddox? Like 27?
I would say late 20s.
Yeah, but he's always hurt. He hasn't.
True.
Season.
True, but he balls out when he plays. So they have players here that probably are not going to get playing time, that they can get pretty good, value for. That's my feeling. So now, before we go to the offense and the Tom Brady of the at quarterback, what do you think we're going to do with slot receiver?
That's it. That's a big question. It was a problem last year, and it's a problem again this year. They don't have anybody.
Yeah. No, they don't. They don't. I mean, they drafted Ainias Smith. They drafted that guy. I think it's Johnny Wilson. He's 6'6", out of Florida State. But he's hurt right now. Ross has a concussion right now, and he hasn't played in 3 years. Paris Campbell, another guy they got, who has a major injury history, and he's hurt again. He has a bad groin. He just came back, and he's not even taking full team practices. Britton Covey's looked better than all the other slot receivers right now. He is I got to tell you, what do you guys think? Like Brady was real good with those small slot receivers when he played with New England. How do you think he would have? How do you think Britton Covey would have panned out with Brady and the offense at New England? He would have been a playmaker.
What do you think? He's Welker?
Yeah,
he's a small white guy, so he's going to be great.
Yeah,
Welker, Amendola.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's exactly right. And then who's the other guy? Just retired a couple of years ago. I can't think of his name.
Edelman.
They were all like under 6 feet, and Brady utilized all their talents. So, I think slot receivers are concerned, and to me, backup tight ends are concerned. I know that Grant Calcaterra is doing a great job, but there's another guy with an injury history. He's had a number of concussions. You got to be concerned about him. He was hurt again. He was out for almost 2 weeks. And they signed that guy, CJ Ozuma, I think his name was, who played with Cincinnati, who can't catch, but he's a decent blocker, but he's 31 years old. And they got that guy, EJ Jenkins, who I think could be a player. He was a former wide receiver in college. Real tall, great hands. He can high point a football. I think he could possibly be sticking on this roster. So that's just my gut feeling. So I don't know.
Would anybody be surprised if they just go like without having like a set slot receiver and just put Will Shipley in the slot?
No.
Isn't he a running back?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
He's
he's a good receiver out of the backfield.
Get him and
But-
Saquon on the field.
Mix it up and him and Barkley out there
keep
together.
moving them in motion all over the field.
Listen, let's talk. Now, listen, I know you guys are going to disagree with me. You know that I was a DeAndre Swift guy. I think it was a mistake getting rid of him. Okay. Now, Barkley is 2 years older. I think he's 27. Swift is only 25. Barkley's got the bigger injury history. Swift doesn't. The one thing that Barkley's got on Swift is that he's a very good blocker and pass protection. They're saying Swift was not. I don't know if he was or he wasn't. I will tell you, Swift was a great receiver out of the backfield. They never used him in that stale offense that Sirianni used last year. Listen, Barkley goes down. They don't have much depth here for a guy to take the load that Barkley can give them. So I don't know. I mean, you're talking about putting Shipley in the slot. Listen, they're probably only going to dress three running backs per game. That at most 3. So
yeah, I don't think Swift's even in like the same conversation as Barkley, but if Barkley does go down for a game or two, you're just gonna have running back by committee, similar to what you had with Swift. Because if Swift was on the team, he's not an every down back, so you're just gonna be rotating these guys in anyway. So
all right, well,
you just have
that's
to do with Gainwell and Shipley.
See, that's where I disagree. I think Swift could have been an everyday back.
But he's never done it anywhere that he's ever been, not even in college.
How many teams really?
I think he was his last year at Georgia. I think he was his last year. But I mean, think about this. Swift had no choice but to go. They didn't offer him another contract. He was making under $1 million. He went to Chicago, and they gave him $8 million a year. I would take that in a heartbeat. And I think he knew he had to go. And who's the receiver they got? DJ Moore, I think it is.
DJ Moore, yeah.
DJ Moore's friends. Yeah, but DJ Moore is friends with DeAndre Swift. So I could tell you that Moore got Swift on the Bears roster because they grew up in the same neighborhood. Yeah, but I mean, Moore and him are both from Philly.
I think in the offseason.
Yeah, they're going to be good. Yeah, I think they're really going to be good. I think their defense is still going to be suspect.
Nobody really scared me in the NFC. No team.
No, I agree.
I think it's wide open. The AFC is completely different. The AFC, there's about 6 teams in there, pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, is that Kansas City is still going to be? I think it's going to be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree.
They got that receiver from Texas. I think his name's
runs
a 4.2 40. Oh my God! I don't know how he was.
I mean, Kansas City arguably won the Super Bowl last year. They're the worst team they've had in years.
Yeah, that's right.
I used to watch the Texas games because of the coach, and that kid was really amazing. And I was surprised that the Kansas City was able to get him because that was their Achilles heel, having a wide receiver, and they got this guy, unbelievable.
And I'll tell you, I remember seeing him as a freshman at Texas, and I thought, oh my God, this guy's going to be great. I think he had a little bit of a down year last year, and I think he had some personal things that kept him going like real high in the draft. That guy's a talent. And, you get quarterback that Kansas City has throwing a ball at him. This guy could have an outstanding year at receiver. I mean, he makes every receiver look good. So I think they got something there with who they picked up. But let's talk about the quarterback play real quick. What did you guys think of the quarterback play so far in the preseason?
Actually, it's so funny. People, they complain that they're not giving him a hard assignment because he haven't thrown any picks yet.
Yeah, he's been great. And they said he looks real fast. His knee's not bothering him. He may have a great year. It's very possible he has a great year. And listen, my opinion is I think they got a more than capable backup in that guy, Tanner McKee, 6'6", reached the field real well. They said that when they interviewed him after the game last week, he had said that for the first time, he feels like he can really read the defense. He wasn't good at reading the defense last year in preseason games. And that's amazing for a guy to say that has not taken a snap in an NFL game yet. But he was going through his progressions real well. And I know he was going up against third teamers, but he looked really good. And his arm is a lot better than Pickett's, way better than Pickett's. I would roll the dice, and I would trade Pickett.
If you're the head coach or the owner, let's say, would you trade Hurts for 2 first-round picks and start Tanner McKee?
No.
I think Will. I didn't ask Will.
No, I would not.
No, that won't happen. But I think McKee now can be a backup quarterback, no longer an emergency quarterback. And I'm telling you, Pickett's going to get traded, and I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota has already inquired about him.
I was reading today that if it's a 1-game injury, it would be Pickett, but if it's multiple games, it would be McKee.
So, there you go.
Could be on to something.
So we're not trading Hurts?
Will, that's Will's boy, right, Will?
I'm out on him again already.
No, we talk.
I'm out on him. Dude. If he doesn't play well this year, he's
yeah, we had that long conversation. I'm with you, dude.
He has no excuses this year.
None.
But Vahe, you should ask Armin that question. If you could trade Hurts right now for 2 first-round picks and start Tanner McKee, do you do it?
He said no. I mean, the thing is that if the Tanner McKee is for real, I would go. Because I'm not really sure how effective Hurts going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're paying him a lot of money, too.
He has.
But it's interesting. Who did the Eagles play in their last preseason game Friday night?
Minnesota.
That's right. Pickett's going to be playing. So I guarantee it's going to be Pickett and McKee playing. I guarantee.
Get that. If I'm thinking about trading with the, I'm benching Pickett because I don't
want his flaws being exploited.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Well, wait a minute. Let's look at it this way. Let's say that Minnesota is not sure they want to do a deal. They want to see Pickett play. I'd play him.
No, I'd say he's got the flu. He can't play this week.
All right.
So they calling the Eagles up, we want to look at your guy playing him for us.
Yeah, what am I going to do them a favor? I'm going to do them a favor and play them?
Pickett hasn't looked that good. I mean, I watched a couple of the games. He doesn't look that good.
No, it's hard.
No, he was a first-round draft pick.
They don't want
and then the Steelers got rid of him for Russell Wilson and Fields.
Yeah, but you know what? You always say to yourself, these backup quarterbacks, how would they look like? Let's take Tanner McKee. How would he look with this first-team offense? Well, we won't know unless something happens. So let's say Pickett gets traded. McKee ends up being number 2. They put a number 3 on the roster, whoever it'll be, and Hurts gets hurt in the second game, and McKee comes in with that first-team offense. I don't know. I'll tell you, me personally, I'm liking my chances. That's just me. Now, I know that they said that McKee came down to earth a little bit in Sunday's practice. He had 2 picks, not 1, 2. One was a ball that was batted up in the air. The other one was just a bad throw. But like, I'll tell you what, in the games, and this is like the preseason games last year and this year, he's looked good. I mean, I think he's the real deal. I think he is. I'm going to say right now, he will be a starting quarterback in this league. Whether it's with the Eagles or not, I don't know, but he will be a starter in this league.
This is what I would do. I would try to trade with the Vikings and give them Pickett, Maddox, and Slay, and ask for their first round pick next year. So when Hurts ends up stinking, we can draft a quarterback high in the draft next year.
3 for
Who-
1.
Wait a minute. Who were the players again? Maddox?
Pickett, Maddox, and Slay.
Okay.
No way. No way they're doing that. I mean, Slay, he said he's almost the last year of his contract, right? He
Yeah,
said
would you,
You got
Would you-
Maddox, who's young. Pickett's young.
what about for a 2?
Imagine, he was a first round pick, right? Wasn't he like the 7th or 8th pick?
He was the first pick.
He was the first pick, and they got it, and they brought
No,
in.
he wasn't.
Yeah, he was. He wasn't the first overall pick.
No,
Am I
no, I think,
off on this?
no, I
Who?
think he was like the 10th
Yeah.
pick.
I thought,
Who are we talking about? Pickett?
Pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Pickett was
wasn't
like
the,
15. I think he was like 15 at Pittsburgh.
yeah,
Okay,
he was
the 20th. All right. I'm off.
20th. Okay.
I'm way off.
All right. No, Pickett was a first round
And
draft.
Pittsburgh wasn't even sold on him. They just took him because he
They
was the
needed a
local
quarterback.
college kid.
That's right. He was from
Yeah.
Pitt. Yep. And an Eagles fan because he was from Central Jersey.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's
They
a
weren't even
shame. It's a
sold.
really, but it's a shame. It's a really good story about him. He always loved the Eagles. Went to a lot of their games and all. You know, he really wants to be on this team. But, you know, McKee, I don't know, looks really, really good. So I think my opinion still is, I personally think that the Eagles are not sure who their backup's going to be right now. I think that they think there's a chance it could end up being McKee. That's just my opinion. And I don't want to go on tangents about this, but he really can. I mean, he looked pretty good the first preseason game. He looked real good this last game. So,
They
you know,
believe
and
in McKee that
he-
much. They're definitely
well, you
gonna
know, what's
trade
it.
someone,
You know what's interesting? They said Joseph Nagata had a great game. He had 2 great catches. Well, the balls that he caught
The world
was they've only thrown right to him. Like nobody, they were throwing right to him where he had to catch them. The throws were amazing, and he didn't get separation on either one. So, and that's the problem with Joseph Nagata. He doesn't get separation, and that's why he may not make this final roster and end up on the practice squad again. So, you know, I don't know. So,
How about the offensive line? I'm just looking online. Mehdi Becton.
He got hurt.
Mekhi Becton. Yeah,
Oh,
Mekhi
it's
Becton.
Mekhi?
He got
Yeah,
hurt.
Mekhi Becton was his first round draft choice out of Louisville, I think. Went to the Jets, was a beast. He had a bad work ethic. He was a tackle. They said he could move people around. He was incredibly strong. He got hurt a lot, and he was lazy. And all he played was tackle, one position. Well, before the Eagles picked him up after the Jets cut him, Stoutland talked to him and convinced him to come over here, play. And he's playing guard. Could you see? You know, that's another thing. If he ends up being the starting right guard, they're going to have the biggest guards in the history of the NFL, because I think he's 6'8", and who's the other guy? The left guard, the one that plays next to Landon Dickerson. He's 6'7", I think. I mean, they're huge. So, I don't know.
Maliala, he's big too.
Malata, yeah,
Big,
yeah. They got a huge offensive line. And, you know, you got to look at Cam Jurgens, too. Is Jurgens going to be able to take over for, Kelsey? Kelsey didn't miss a game for years. And here we go. Cam Jurgens started last year. He got hurt and he was out 3 or 4 games. Now, there's another guy. If Jurgens gets hurt, who comes in?
That's what I was
Who's
going
the
to ask.
backup
Is there
center?
any concern about the
Is
O-line?
it-
Anyone gets hurt?
Yeah, is it
Isn't
Brett
the
Toth?
backup center? Isn't either? I forget the guy's name. The guy that took it was the last draft that they had this year.
Oh, McMahon.
Isn't
think
he the
his-
backup center? As of
Well,
now?
no,
they,
he's not.
they signed Matt Hennessy to be the backup center.
Yeah, but
Oh, did they?
he's been very disappointing, and he's been hurt too.
But he's got
Um,
experience, right?
Yeah, but right now it looks like it may end up being Brett Toth as the backup, and he's been with this team forever as a backup. And there's no, there's nothing for sure that say that he's going to be even on this team. Right now they got Hennessy as the backup, Dylan McMahon is the third guy. Brett Toth isn't even on here, but he played center the first week.
He's the third string right guard right now.
Yeah, but he
How
can
about
play
Tyler
center too.
Right, Steen. Steen is the
Who?
back. Steen, Tyler Steen.
Tyler Steen will end up being the backup right guard. Him and Becton were fighting for the right guard position, but then he got hurt. He's still hurt. He's got a bad ankle.
Well, Becton got hurt at Sunday's practice, but they said he'll be fine.
Can't wait for the game, man. It's unbelievable. It's like almost 2 weeks away, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks from
2 weeks from Friday. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
2 weeks from Friday.
What guy on this roster that's a big name or a possible starter on this team that you don't think is going to make the roster? Any surprise cuts?
Well, good question. That's a good question. Let me look at this.
I mean, other than James Bradbury, because
well, he's
he's
not
not
going to.
starting.
It's not a surprise. I don't know if there's going to be a surprise cut. I mean, at the very beginning of camp, I was saying to myself, Nakobe Dean may be that guy, but they're saying he's playing better than any other defensive player right now.
Could you see us holding 4 linebackers? What do we normally?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do we normally keep 4 linebackers?
A lot of times they do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So guys,
I think you've got to give Dean another year.
What do you guys think the line is for the first game? Eagles, Packers in Rio.
I'm gonna say Eagles minus 4.5.
They're playing
2.5. My Eagles minus 2.5.
I'm thinking 4.5 for the Eagles.
I'm going to say about 2.5 minus 2.5 too. What is it?
minus 1.5.
1.5. Okay.
But the
And
thing
Jordan,
is, even though it's a home game, but it's not really a home game.
Yeah,
And
right.
no, it ain't. No.
didn't go to they went to the divisional game, right?
Yeah.
They lost
The
to
Packers?
didn't they lose some?
They lost to the 49ers.
They lost it if they beat Dallas
They
and
beat
they should have
Dallas
beat
and
the
they
49ers.
almost beat the 49ers.
They should have
lost.
beat the 49ers. And Jordan Love was on he was like rocking in the playoffs.
Then he wasn't close to setting a record for pass attempts about an interception from like
I'm
the
not
middle of
sure.
the year on.
Boy, I'll tell you, he really took off after the middle of the year.
Weren't they winning towards the first half and they end up losing
Yeah.
towards the?
Yeah,
I think
they were winning.
all the way into the fourth quarter.
They were dominating the
blew it.
game. Jordan Love was on another
I
planet.
think he threw his first pick at some point in that game, and that pretty much sealed it. I could be
Yeah.
wrong. Could be
He
wrong.
just signed a monster contract too.
I mean, how about being the Packers? You go from Favre to Rodgers. Now it looks like Love's going to be a player. It's pretty good, right?
You know what's
Pretty good
funny
30-year
about
run.
Yeah, what's funny about Jordan Love is that the way he throws the football, like off his back foot a lot, and all, reminds me so much of Rodgers. I think Jordan Love just looked at tons and tons and tons of tape on Rodgers and just copied what he did. And there's some great quarterbacks that were able to throw easy off their back foot and get, a lot of air under the ball. He's one of them. So, and another guy that I think can play effectively with just very average wide receivers. So, I don't know, but like, let's, what do you guys think will be, give me some predictions. Let's start with you, Jim.
For the season or for the first game?
First game. Let's go with the first game first.
I think it's going to be a tough game. As of now, I don't like them in the game. I don't like the Eagles. I think Green Bay might beat them. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but as of now, I think I'm leaning toward Green Bay. It's funny because I was talking to my brother and Mikey and Chris about this yesterday down the shore. Chris and I are kind of on the same page. My brother and Mikey are.
I feel the same way because the big time starters have not gotten any like reps in any of the games. The Packers had starters play. So I don't know if it's going to take a little bit of time for them to get together. I might be dead wrong. I think it's going to be very close. I can't even think of the score. But I just don't like that. I don't like this game at all. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that the setting is like Rio. Nobody has been down there. I mean, I don't know what the weather is like. It's going to take time for them to get acclimated.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I'm a little on the other side of the room with this, because I think a lot of times when you see like a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator, the schemes are a bit different and they're hard to game plan for. So I kind of think that gives us the edge a bit. And this offense is completely loaded with talent. And I think it's going to be hard for them to scheme to try to stop Saquon in an offense that's already loaded with wide receivers and a good line, and you don't know exactly how we're going to use them. I think this game being week 1 actually really works to our advantage. And I think we win by, I want to say, over a touchdown.
Good call. Good call. Let me pose this one to you. I did this last year. Give me a surprise player. Someone that might be off the radar that does some special things this year for this team.
I'm going with my guy Trotter Jr.
Trotter Jr.
That's a good one. Yeah. Who do you got? Who do you think, Vahe?
Hurts.
How much water is going to get at the end of the bench when he's sobbing?
I mean, the thing is that last year he looked awful, right? Yeah. This year, I'm thinking that's going to surprise everybody.
Okay.
Jimmy, I'd be kind of more surprised if he doesn't do well in this offense. Like, if he doesn't do well, we're in trouble.
Yeah, Jimmy, you're coming in and out on us. I don't know if you can hear us, but
I
got a surprise player. Good, that's a good one. Now I'm gonna go. Listen, as much as my heart's telling me that it's going to be like this, a surprise player.
Can I guess what your surprise player is first?
Yeah, get.
Is it Britton Covey?
No, that's the guy that I was saying that my heart's going to go with him. My guy, my surprise player, I'm going to name this guy because of Kellen Moore. I have a funny feeling that Grant Calcaterra is going to have a great year because he's going to use a lot of 12 personnel. And since they don't have really a slot receiver, they may put him in the slot, and he's nice and tall. I just think that, and he's a great receiver, had great hands up until he was catching everything until he got hurt last week. I just have a funny feeling he is going to be playing more than just as a second tight end. He might surprise a lot of people here. He's my guy. And then if he gets hurt, it's Britton Covey, because I think Britton Covey's going to be, I think he's a gadget guy. I think they're going to give him a package of plays this year instead of just being a punt returner. That's just my gut feeling. So last question before we wrap this up. Give me a prediction for the record at the end of the regular season.
I got him 10-7.
Give us 13 wins.
Nice.
Boy, I don't know what you've been smoking in your pipe.
Nice. Well,
that's right. I guess they don't call him seal the deal for nothing, I guess, right?
I got 12-5.
I got 11-6. My thinking is I think they're going to have a rough beginning, and I think at some point they'll figure it out. So
schedule gets easier at the end.
Guys, if we only win
does.
11 games, don't you think Hurts's job is in jeopardy?
What if the defense is horrible?
That's what I fear. That's why I have him at 10.
You only need the defense to be like middle of the pack.
Yeah, but we thought that last year, and look what happened.
Well, they were the worst defense last year, and they were also awful on offense too. Major part of that was Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, true. So, any last minute thoughts before we wrap this up?
I think they're going to the Super Bowl, but unfortunately, they're going to lose the.
Yeah, first podcast every year, Vahe, you say the same thing. So, just think, you know what I'm thinking? Your kitchen will be installed hopefully by week 1, maybe, right?
No,
Week 2, maybe week 2.
Week two.
Yeah, I know. That'll be a topic. All right, that's it.
Oh,
Go
the
ahead.
kitchen. How's that?
What? Yeah, there you go. All right, let's wrap this up. Episode 1's in the book. Thanks so much. Flying high with the birds. Philadelphia Eagles talk. See ya.
See you guys.
All right,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.